Albert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Rental Store. Thank you for joining us on episode 257 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. What's going on, guys?
257. I feel like we should just stop counting at this point.
What do you mean? We have to have numbers. We can't just not have numbers.
Then we have to start naming the episodes, and that's going to be even harder.
Well, they're named. I mean, there's names of every episode.
But it, you can reference a number easier than you can, that one time.
Oh, I don't know. The Seinfeld episode, convention of naming would be good, or the Friends episode, right?
The one where they.
Interestingly enough, I just started on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I must have tried a few times to watch it.
Oh, like from the beginning you're watching it?
I've never seen it before. I must have tried a few times to watch it and never could do it. And here I am finally on season 10, just wondering what the heck I missed out on, right? I mean, the show's not over yet, which is good. So, I mean, I'll probably be caught up by the time April is the final episode.
By the time the new season's over? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the final episode in theory. It's good, though. It's good.
Oh, I love Curb.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, so.
I identify a little bit too much with Larry sometimes. Some of the curmudgeonly things,
Yes, I could understand that. So, yeah. I mean, besides that, I think we're going to be taking a trip to Nashville this summer, which will be interesting. So my son, I'm sure not everybody knows, but my son is a musician as well. And interestingly enough, I was able to get him an interview through one of the websites, and the person that he was interviewing, based on the interview, has now asked him to be an intern, which is nice. Crazy. Yeah, definitely, definitely a win. And he'll be hosting a podcast on YouTube with a famous musician, and he asked to go out to Nashville, so to actually be on one of the shows. He's going to be writing a lot for the show as an intern, and then he'll be on the show when we can make our way out there. So I think we'll be going out to Nashville this summer, which I've never been.
Yeah, I've actually never been to Nashville either, despite we're not that close to it, but we're not that far either. So.
No, I feel like, and again, I've been out to, Dollywood so many times, but never to Nashville. So I think it will be fun. It should be interesting. So hopefully we'll see some people from the podcast. I always like seeing people in Tennessee.
Yeah, definitely. Trevor, were you going to say something before? I feel like you were.
No, I actually, the only thing I was going to ask you.
Don't ever plan on it. I get it.
No, I thought you were going to say something about Curb.
No, I was going to actually say so aside from obviously you have this thing to do in Nashville, are you looking into other things to do in Nashville? Because I don't know what there is to do in Nashville. And that's not to say that I think
country music. Isn't there some museum? Isn't there a country music museum or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bars and stuff, right?
Food. I guess food.
Food, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Food would be I think there's a lot to do in Nashville. So, I mean, whoever, lives around the area has been often more than happy to hear what everyone has to say. But I think it will be an interesting trip for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some listeners that know some Nashville stuff. We probably even have a listener in Nashville.
I have a friend that lives in Nashville, and I'll see her as well. So, yeah, I think it will be an interesting trip. I'm sure it's very cultural. Right. I think there's a lot of cultural things to do there and things like that. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. I also just booked another vacation too, which I haven't mentioned to really anybody, but my wife and I have been looking for an opportunity to just kind of go off by ourselves for a little bit. Not to say that we don't want to be with our daughter. We do.
I just don't understand that. I just don't understand that. But okay, go ahead.
I get you, Tom. We do that too.
Yeah. I don't think it's that weird.
I've never done that.
And that's fine.
I think when you get towards the end of your kid's relationship, as they turn 20 and 21, then we'll ask this question again. You tell me what you think. But go ahead.
Well, we're doing it's not like we're not doing a vacation with her this year. We're doing a family vacation, and then we're doing a vacation just my wife and I. That's
fine. Where are you going?
Well, we're gonna. So it's interesting you were talking about Nashville, because we were trying to find an all inclusive. We kind of just wanted.
There's some in Virginia.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So like, unless you're there's like some in Virginia, or like you basically have to travel to like Mexico or Jamaica or the Dominican Republic.
That's not true. There's some in Florida as well.
Yeah, there are some. Yeah.
I mean, I've gone down this path, right, of kind of searching out all the all-inclusives. There's ranches out west, Midwest, right?
Yeah.
There's more than you think, but go ahead.
Well, so I said to my wife, I was like, why are we looking for an all-inclusive when a cruise is just an all-inclusive on a boat, right? Like, why let's just do a cruise, right? So now we're going to do a cruise in August.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to do a Royal Caribbean cruise. We honestly don't even really care where it's going. We just want to just be gone and just relax for a little.
Staying on the boat is underrated.
That's what we said. We're like, we don't even want to get off at any of the ports. Like, maybe we'll get off at the private island, but like,
wait, because when you get on the boat, there's an itinerary. Like, there is something to do every second of every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and I mean, truthfully, the two ports they're stopping in Haiti, which I'm like, are you really stopping in Haiti though? Like, doesn't seem like a good place to stop at the moment. But, and then also the Dominican Republic, which we've been to, right? So it's like, I mean, I don't know. We might get off for a little bit, but it's a 6 night.
The thing is, you're getting off and you're going to the port. Like, so what? Like, it's a port. Like, that's kind of the way I felt about Jamaica too. Like, we got off just because the kids were like, I want to say we've been in Jamaica, but we got off at the Jamaican port, and that was it. I mean, when we got off at the Caymans, we went through town and stuff like that. That was a little bit more, right? Like, not just the port per se. But yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll probably just get off for like a little bit and check it out. But I mean, we'll have to see. But we're excited. I mean, we haven't been on a vacation by ourselves in a long time. And I mean, because even even before my daughter was born, we still went on vacation with people a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, we did not. Before our kids were born, we went on vacation by ourselves. So
yeah, we tended to have people with us. So like, we haven't taken a vacation just the two of us in quite a while. So yeah, no, we're looking forward to that. It's 6 nights, and then we're going to spend a couple days with my daughter too, because we're going to drop her off at my mom's house, and she's been asking to stay with grandma for a week. So it's she's both sides of her are excited about that, both my mom and my sister and my daughter. But I also like haven't been on a cruise since I was like 12. So this is going to be a not a new experience, but something I haven't done in a long time. Especially I haven't done it as an adult. So
yeah, and it will be interesting because you'll be on a Royal Caribbean before Disney, which is probably the better way to do it.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because the Disney is just so well done.
Yeah,
that it kind of is tougher. And truly, a Disney is almost more inclusive than a Royal Caribbean cruise, just because there's a lot more just kind of covered in a Disney cruise, I feel like. But
yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, Royal felt like the way to go though for the non-Disney cruise. So like,
we were. I think if you're taking another step down per se, I don't think I wouldn't necessarily want to take the double step down to Carnival, which I've done, and I don't think I'd want to do it again.
Yeah, I've done. I think the only cruise I've ever done, I believe it was a Carnival, and I mean, this was a long time ago. It was more than 20 years ago, so it was. I feel like a little different than it is now. I feel like Carnival's got a different reputation, but
I think that was kind of always a reputation, but
people have just gotten crazier. Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah.
So we do have a bit of striking news, right? Which Tom said I wouldn't want to talk about, but I actually put it on there.
Interested. Yeah. So
members to guest. Yeah. Excuse me. Wow. Let's start that again. Guest member to guest pin trading officially returns to Walt Disney World. April 7th. The big lanyards are coming back, and they posted it on TikTok.
That's interesting, right?
Maybe around next year, may not be.
Well, that's a good point.
I have a hard time with TikTok just because
I'm not a TikTok person either. And it's funny because I went and then was like, oh, let me find this bit of news on their Facebook page or their blog. And it's not, it's just on TikTok.
Just on TikTok,
like,
yeah.
Okay. I think I don't pin trade, but I think it's great.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people do enjoy it. So I think it's a win.
Yeah. It brings back atmosphere, right? And kind of, something else to do. Not to say there's not a lot of things to do, but
the more to do, the better.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we used to do pin trading. We haven't done pin trading in like the last 3 trips, and mainly because our son got old enough that he was like, yeah, I can't be bothered to do that. So
this is actually great timing for me because I think
you're into
it. So we used to do pin trading before my daughter was born, right? Like my wife got really into it. And then we just kind of tailed off, right? Especially because they kind of stopped doing it, right? Like, and now they're bringing it back. And I'm almost thinking to myself, I bet my daughter would be really into this. Like, if we started doing it on this next trip, like, I could see her like wanting to pick some out and being like, here, you take this one, I'll take this one. And so maybe we'll try that out on this next trip. We do have like the starter lanyard thing, that we can, I doubt she'll want to wear it around, but
our son did. He was happy to go around with the pins, and it just became, it was another thing he was doing, right? And he, to that point, it's great when your kids, you kind of give them something to be in charge of on the trip, right? Like it's like the pins are your thing. You have to decide which ones to trade. And for our son, he really loved that. He just like, and we got some cool ones that, it's not like he was hunting for sets or anything. He just got these pins, and they're just pins that he found. So yeah, it's good that they're gonna do that again. I have to wonder how much people or like, you feel like there's got to be a lot of feedback for them to bring it back, right?
Like, people lamenting like that it was gone, and like they're and the feedback that they give or the surveys or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I bet a lot of people were like, when are you doing pin trading again?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. We're definitely going to, I think we're going to try this out and see how my daughter likes it. And maybe we'll even buy some pins and stuff like that on this trip coming up here, especially now that it's coming back. So, but thanks, Damon, for putting that on there. I try to curate our topics a little bit, and sometimes I guess I wouldn't say I miss this. I just sometimes I'm not sure how interested you guys are going to be in some of these topics. So, but pin trading, is a good one. Sorry, go ahead, Trevor.
No, I was just saying, that's fair. I mean, it's a hard thing to guess who's going to care about pin trading specifically.
It's
too,
fair,
right?
Yeah. Yes, it's fair.
I feel like pin trading comes a little cyclical too, right? You do it when your kids are young, you don't do it for a while, and maybe you come back to it. Like when you're in your like 20 phase before kid. Yeah, like it's just
yeah. That's an interesting point, Damon, because I like, you're saying like you do it when you're a younger kid, and then maybe when you're a little bit older you don't do it, and then maybe you come back to it. Yeah.
And then you come back to it again when you have kids. Like, I feel like you can like it's like, up until like 11, 12 maybe, and then you come back to it when you're in your 20s, and then you come back to it again when you have kids, and maybe you come back to it when you have grandkids, I feel like.
Yeah.
Never going away.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Actually, I'm just realizing now that my lanyard with all my pins is actually in the office where I'm sitting right now. It's like it's directly to the left of me on a bookshelf. So
my son's is right behind me.
There you go. So you know where yours is too. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
what were you gonna say, Trevor?
Mine's in the attic somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's like its own mission. Like there's no way we can find it in time.
Mine is
my son has now taken upon himself to clean the attic. It's been an interesting experience because like I'm like, okay, but you can't touch this, you can't touch that, you can't touch this, and he's just like, yeah, I don't care. I'm doing.
You're like very protective of your stuff, like
I am. I'm very protective of my stuff. Like, dude, like you don't understand. Like that's original Return of the Jedi, like character set. Like you gotta be careful with that, man. But he's been up there just like. I think he's accomplished in 1 week, which I couldn't accomplish in probably 10 years. Like he's just up there, just going crazy every day. He's been injured, and then he had one of those. I don't know if I've never had them. They're like the little cysts you get like in your wrist. I guess
I've
people
never had
have
that,
them.
no.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And he just had it drained, so he can't lift for like 2 weeks. But like he can do regular stuff. He just can't put a lot of weight on his wrist. So like, so he's been up there just absolutely cleaning. It's been throwing off my what's in my attic videos because like I can't do anything. I go up there and like 10 boxes are packed. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just have to do this at another time. So
Damon, are you like an organized chaos person where you like everything is like everywhere, but you know where everything is?
Yeah. So yesterday I was like, I needed a hammer, right? I probably have like 3 hammers in the garage that are always just out.
Yeah.
But as part of this thing, like he was cleaning the garage. He's cleaning the attic, I think, so he can move some boxes from the garage up there. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, whatever. So he did that. And then I was looking for a hammer, and I'm like, bro, where are all the hammers? He's like, well, they were just sitting out. Like, I'm like, yes, but I knew exactly where they were. Now I know where nothing is. I have to ask him now where things are, because I cannot find anything.
Oh man.
Yeah, I have a bin in the garage like that where like I have like a toolbox, but then I have another bin that's like easily accessible where like the hammers and stuff are. I get you on that.
Yeah, I was looking for an extension cord. I have a box full of extension cords because we're filming the new Peppa Pig playset video, right? And I'm trying to get my lights in place. I have no idea where extension cords. I don't know where anything is anymore. I'm gonna have to like pretty much beg my son, like, hey, so where's that box of extension cords? Right? Like it's definitely a flip. But yes, organized chaos. I don't even think it's organized chaos. It's just chaos.
It's just chaos.
But I do know where things are.
I just mean the organized part, that in your head you know where everything is, even though it's chaos. You know?
Yes, absolutely.
That's kind of how I work too. So it's like everything's a mess, but I know where everything is in the mess.
And it works out well until like people have to come over your house, and then it's like we're frantically like, having people over for dinner. This is ridiculous. Like, what are we gonna do? And then you spend that whole day before people come over just like cleaning.
It's literally just happened to me today because as we speak right now, my daughter's having a play date with one of her friends. Yeah. And I was like, we got to get rid of a bunch of the stuff that's just floating around the house. We've got like 7 unopened Amazon packages just sitting in the hallway.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what we have as well. My daughter's birthday is on Monday. She's having friends sleep over, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Time to clean the house.
Yep, time to clean the house.
Yeah. I totally get that. I don't even know how we got talking about this, but do you want to do some listener questions?
Down a rabbit hole.
Let's do some listener questions.
Yeah. So Kevin says, do you find that you lose weight when you go to Disney World with all of the walking, or do you gain weight with all the eating and drinking?
I've been waiting for this question all week.
All right.
Wait, since it got posted, you've just been
waiting. Since it got posted, I've just been waiting on this question because I'm like, the perfect thing for me is I want to lose a couple pounds before I go to Disney, thinking that I'm going to gain weight with all the food I eat, but then realizing that the amount of walking balances out the food I'm eating, and I come home at the same weight that I went with, which is a little less than I was before. That's exactly what happens for me. Well, not even a wash. It's a gain because I've lost a little bit of weight to begin with. Yes, absolutely. That is exactly how it happens to me every single time.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't know if I've ever actually like weighed myself before and after, but I do feel like it is kind of a wash. Because
how often do you weigh yourself? I probably weigh myself every day.
I never do. Like it's not something, you know.
I probably do about once a week, but yeah, like you, Damon, it's like, you know, I will get into, you know, like training mode before a trip, right?
Cardio.
Well, yeah, because you know it's a lot of walking. You know that it, you know, it's gonna be hard on your body. So like you, I do the same thing, and then I realize as well that when you get there, you know, even though you're having all the extra stuff and the snacks and everything, just the sheer volume of walking that you're doing, everything's like net zero. Like it doesn't it doesn't end up in anything. And then you come back and you're like, oh, okay. Like that's, you know, that didn't hurt me at all.
I do measure my steps when I'm at Disney though. I like my phone just measure. I always look. Yeah.
I don't look.
Because it's usually, I mean, I don't know what I average there, but I mean, I feel like we usually, especially on like an EPCOT day or an Animal Kingdom day, I feel like we average like 8 or 9 miles. Like it's a lot, you know?
Yeah. I've never tracked mine, but I'm pretty sure in my family, I do by far the most amount of steps because I'm the one that's always like running off to grab stuff. Like I'll leave like my wife and my son, like, okay, you guys go this way. I'm going to go back to the room and grab something, or I'm going to go, you know, get food and I'll meet you here kind of thing. Right. So
yeah, it's always like, all right, I'm going to go this way through EPCOT and I'll meet you over there. And then I'll go back and get that. I also felt like for me, you know, just with all like the doing is like during Fast Pass days. I mean, gosh, I might have put on, you know, another 3 miles over everyone else. And I finally got one of those shirts, by the way.
You're talking Fast Pass when it was the kiosks. Yeah, the paper.
I finally got one of those shirts that has like all the there's a shirt that has all the fast pass, like old paper fast pass listed on it.
Nice.
Yeah, I finally got one. I had to. That's my jam. That's my nostalgic Disney is paper fast passes.
I feel like our original concept of the logo for the show was gonna be an old school fast pass. That was one of the concepts that we had, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Maybe we need to revisit that.
I mean, we've already had like 5 logos though.
No, but I mean, we've done like the golden button and stuff. I'm thinking maybe we do like a fast pass shirt ourselves. Why could?
Oh yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Somebody posted a shirt in the group, and I'm trying to remember.
I would have made it if someone's going to buy one. I'll make it. Like that's no problem. But someone's got to confirm that they're going to buy one, and then I'm all in.
Yeah, what was the shirt that got posted in the group that was making?
That was because I was complaining about extra.
Am I extra or are you basic? And I mean, I kind of like that. I feel like you could actually make that more DVC. You could say like, "Am I blue card or am I just white card or something?" You know what I mean? Yeah. I just think that would be really funny. It's a funny shirt. I'll give credit to Francisco for that one. So
if you can't love me when I have the blue card, you can't love me when I have the white card or something like that.
Yeah. I like it. We'll come up with something. It's funny. I have like a little like note, like a list on my phone of like ideas for shirts that I've just never done. Like, so one of these days I have to get back in there and find some shirts. I don't think any of them are any good, but we'll have to come up with some good ones. Anyway. Yep. So that was a good one. Thanks, Kevin. So Nathan also is asking us, Nathan did the Disney Institute a few years ago. Great course over 3-4 days. What's one aspect of Disney's business method that you would like to learn or be trained in?
None. Absolutely zero. This seems like it's like effort that I don't need to take for no reason, and I don't get down with this.
That's you just don't want to take a class on something, is what you're saying.
I don't think this is needed.
All right. Well, no, for what you're doing, I guess, right? It's just not
in life, but that's fine. Other people think so. I mean,
but you like it when people at Disney handle things a certain way with customers, right? So they're being trained to do that. So
but that's because that's their job at Disney.
Yeah. And that's fair. You know, not everyone's jobs correlate.
Yeah, next time I have a job where like I'm greeting for a ride, let me know. I'll be more than happy to jump into this class. But outside of that, I think I'm good.
I mean, you can apply some of that stuff though. It's just like how to treat people, like how to. No, just no. Okay. All right. I mean, that's fine. Do you?
I'll be honest. I haven't really thought about anything about Disney that I would want to incorporate into.
That's what I'm saying.
My life or anything
exactly.
Like. Yeah, it's fair. I enjoy Disney, but I guess the thing is that for me, like. When people talk about, cast members are so nice, to me, it's like, well, yeah, that's just how I operate every day. Like I don't feel like you need training.
Trevor says he doesn't need a class. He's got the CM thing on lock.
Well, I know how to.
He's already Canadian, so
right?
It's naturally nice, right? It's built into the culture.
I guess. I mean, we come out, apologizing for everything. So
you should apologize for this terrible animated show that I started to watch about. It's a Canadian cartoon. These people fall down a ditch, and there's a society in there. Do you know this?
What is this?
Okay, what
is this? Disney or is this something?
No. It's an animated show. It's Canadian. I mean, I just happened to turn it on because I love watching animated stuff. It was on like Freevee, I think. It must have come up after I was watching The Good Show, Corner Gas. And it's a show that these people fall off this cliff, and in this like crevice, there's like a whole society, but they can't get out. And it's Canadian. It's like, what? You owe me for that. Like, I feel like you owe me for that.
You owe me maple syrup. That's the currency.
You just owe me my time back. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Okay. I need context on what there's actually like 4 different shows this could possibly
be. That makes it even worse. Oh my goodness. Wow.
There's 4 different shows? What are you talking about?
Well, because... What, like, I need more information than people fell off a cliff and ended up in a
Is that a common trope in
No.
Canadian animation?
I'm Googling for it, and there's like different shows coming up, and I'm like, okay, it could be that, maybe. Like I don't know.
That's really funny.
That is funny.
Why does this sound familiar?
Oh man.
Okay,
I don't know. It's bad though. It's bad.
Oh, I'm
And I was
sure
like,
there's definitely our fair share of bad shows that we have. I'm not excusing any of it.
that's not it. Like the thing is, it's like if it's bad, like keep it in your own country. Like it doesn't need to be like brought over. Like we don't want to give you bad American shows either, right? Like.
What I mean, what are you watching? Like Canadian Netflix or something? Like what?
No,
where are you getting
it was on like
things?
Freevee or Tubi or something.
Oh.
Like,
Tubi. Oh,
Is it
I think
Crash
it was Freevee
Canyon?
though. I'm gonna be honest with you. What? Crash
Is it
Canyon?
Crash Canyon? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know this show. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
so bad.
It was.
So
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. It's one of those. Somebody tried something and it didn't work.
Didn't work out.
Yeah. I remember the show.
Wait, what is Teletoon at night? Is that like your cartoon thing? Is that like Cartoon Network?
Yeah, Teletoon is Canadian Cartoon Network, and
Okay.
the fun thing about it is that they have Canadian Broadcasting has a thing where they have to have a percentage of Canadian content on it, so they
Okay.
can't just run, whatever shows they want all day, and that's why shows like Crash Canyon get made because
So bad.
people get
So
grants. People get grants to make these shows, and some of them are good, some of them are not.
And it looks
so good.
like it would be good. Like it looked like it would be a really funny show, and then you're just like,
So
wow.
this one came out like 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago. There's like, it goes back way further than that. Like this goes all the way back to the 80s, that there is like, there's a mix of shows that some of them were good. Like I remember from growing up, and then there's other ones that like this one, it's like, until you mentioned it, I was like, what is this? But yeah, I remember watching this like when my son was very young. We tried watching it, and I was like, this is not a good show.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, Damon, I've heard that new one that's on Disney Plus is pretty good. The one I forget what it's called though. It's like a newer animated show, but it got really good reviews. What is it called? I think it was that partnership they did with an animation studio in Africa or something.
oh yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
But it's supposedly good though, and actually,
that's
also
what I've
X-Men '97 is supposedly fantastic.
So here's the thing. So I watched X-Men 97, and there was a reason that should have stayed in 97. Like it just.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because
I mean,
I'm
that's
like,
just me. But like I watched it. I watched I think the first 2 episodes are out, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of souped for this, right? Like, I mean, I love old school X-Men, and I'm just kind of like,
Got great reviews.
It's
though.
cool,
Yeah.
and it's just not. I think maybe I've aged out. You know what I'm saying? Like I've aged out. Like it just is not it. Like I was kind of watching it, going, yeah, nah.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
That's the hard thing about nostalgia.
And
'cause
animation is terrible, by the way. Like they're trying
really?
to recreate that animation, and they recreate it extremely well. But like, I'm kind of done with that
Oh,
animation.
really? See, I thought you would love the old school
Me too.
animation in there. Yeah.
One would have
Yeah.
thunk, and there we go. I don't.
Sorry, Trevor. Go.
Sometimes you do have to make a design choice and not just follow it for nostalgia. But yeah, I get you, Damon. There's been a lot of like cartoons that have been remade over the years, and I've gone through the same thing where it's like, oh, like I really loved Thundercats back in the 80s, and when I saw they remade it, I was excited, and then I watched it and I was like, nah, this is not.
I will
This isn't
tell
it.
you
Yeah.
the new He-Man is pretty poppin'.
Yeah, and this is the thing is, some of these shows, it's like it deviates far enough away that
the new He-Man is just totally out of left field. Like it's
sometimes you need that, and I feel like everything I see about X-Men 97, the problem is that like even on Disney Plus, when you put them side by side, it's like, okay, great, you guys are literally just continuing the same show that everyone watched 30 years ago.
Mhm.
I don't need that. Like stop giving me the same thing. Like it honestly feels like they gave it the Star Wars treatment, is what I feel like. You know, just keep rehashing the same thing because people hype about it. Like that's my feeling on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember the series from when I was a kid. I mean, I definitely watched it when I was a kid. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back and watch it, but watch the new one. But I probably will at some point, because I do tend to
watch the new He-Man. The new He-Man is good.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good. It's more adult though, but it's good. It's good. Which is, I almost feel like that's the progression, right? Like the people that watch the original are now adults, so you can make my He-Man more adult-like, and I'm good. Like I'm down with it. Like that makes sense.
I hope in the new He-Man at some point Prince Adam says, "Hey, what's going on?" For anybody that's seen that internet meme.
What is that? I don't know that reference. What is that reference?
I'm gonna ruin your life after this.
Apparently.
I'll ruin He-Man for you, but I'll send you a link.
Okay, yeah, do that.
But it is pretty good though. The new one is pretty good, I will say.
Yeah, well, okay.
It leads into our next question.
Yeah, it kind of does. And I decided to pull up a list of every Disney movie ever made. And so the question is, what's your favorite Disney movie of all time? Now, I do have a question about this. Does this count Pixar? Does it count Touchstone Pictures? Does it count Hollywood Pictures? Like all of the subsidiaries of Disney? Or are we just saying straight up Disney movies? It's a tough question. Because if you go back, man, they made a lot of stuff under the Touchstone banner. That was
I don't think it's Touchstone.
I guess the thing is I would never I can't think of a Touchstone movie that I would label as my favorite movie anyway.
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like Disney. I feel like for me it's Disney proper. And I'm trying to think about which Disney movie I've actually watched the most, because that would obviously be like something that I really
but it's not Pixar.
I think Pixar counts, though. I feel like Pixar counts. No,
I feel like Pixar counts. But
yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I still haven't watched Pixar movies as much as I watched like the old 90s Disney movies.
I think mine's a tough one. I feel like I need like a top 5 instead of just one. I feel like I can't do one. You know,
I think I have my answer.
Okay, well, what's your answer?
Fantasia.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not where I expected you to go, but
I really liked it because of the fact that it was they took like songs and the animation was built around the composure of the song.
Yeah.
And it was just very the fact that it was a whole bunch of different styles, and then the final bit with Chernobog and all that was just it's very intense. And you don't see a lot of stuff like that in Disney stuff. I just like the whole vibe of Fantasia.
Okay.
It's probably, I've watched it the most. I think back actually when I was a kid, we had the VHS of Fantasia and I could just put it on and just keep watching it. It was good.
All right. That's fair. I think if I'm going to go, I think I'm going to give myself categories here, because I feel like I can't do just one. So I feel like favorite animated is probably Aladdin. I think I'm going to go Aladdin on that one. And then I want to say live action is probably going to be Mighty Ducks, believe it or not. I watched Mighty Ducks when I was a kid.
Really?
A lot. Yeah. I was all about Mighty Ducks. I feel like tied for that one, though, is the Santa Claus, the original Santa Claus movie. It's become a tradition in my house to we watch that movie every single year, as a family. It's a family movie we watch every year. So maybe that's what it is. If I'm going to go under the Touchstone banner, there's a movie called High Fidelity from 2000 that I really love. So that one is probably my favorite. That's not a regular Disney movie. That's a rated R Touchstone movie. So So those are my categories. I have more though. It's funny because I wanted to pull up a list just so I wasn't forgetting anything, But I did. I found a list of every movie they've ever made. And just scrolling through here, it was it's hard to figure out which one you want to pick. But I think those are mine. I know I kind of copped out by picking multiple ones, but. So, Damon, what is yours?
I'm not answering this question.
You're not? What? Why not?
No, it's too much work. I'd have to think way too hard.
You have to use your brain. I mean, you could just do Toy Story if you want. I mean, that's just
that's not. No, you don't just
why not?
Default. I'm sure Toy Story is not Damon's favorite movie.
I mean, it might be, but. Because again, it's my first date Toy Story, right? Yeah. Kids loved a Toy Story, but I don't think it's my favorite, but it could be. I don't know. It's too much effort. I'm not thinking about this. It makes me feel like the second part of Nathan's question. Like I don't need a work to do.
You don't need work to do.
Yeah.
What was the second part of Nathan? Oh, that one. Yeah.
Hold on. So you said your first date was you went and watched Toy Story?
Yeah.
First date movie? Okay.
Yeah.
Mine and my wife's first movie we watched together was Jumanji.
Oh, okay.
OG Jumanji, which is good.
Yeah.
Wait, is Jumanji a Disney movie or no?
No.
That wasn't a Disney, right?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But what about you, Tom? Just since we're on the topic,
of what?
First movie you and your wife watched together, like when you went on a date.
Back to the Future. On our first date, we watched all 3 Back to the Futures in a row.
Nice. That's some commitment.
It was just a weird bonding we had over loving Back to the Future at the time. I don't know what it is. And interestingly enough, our anniversary is in July this year, and in July we're going to see the Back to the Future stage show, the Broadway show. So it's kind of a full circle.
On Broadway?
No, in Charlotte.
No.
It's the traveling. Is it even on Broadway? I don't even know if it's on Broadway. It's probably off Broadway.
I don't know.
But I've heard it's good. I was hoping somebody was going to pick Kazam, starring Shaquille O'Neal from what was that?
What?
You don't remember Kazam?
What a left field selection.
I just saw it, and it just reminds me of it was 1996. Like
it's on Broadway, by the way.
It is on Broadway. Okay, yeah,
correct.
I wasn't sure if it was or not, but no, I'm not seeing it on Broadway, David. I'm seeing
it doesn't really count.
All right, well that's fine. I mean, I'm going to enjoy it either way. So
not as much as if you were on Broadway. But
that's probably. Although I will say though, we saw I think I talked about this on the show. We saw the Beetlejuice musical, and I thought that the person the 2 people that were the leads were. Like we listened to the soundtrack later on the way back, and I found the leads from the show that were better than the original cast, like the better singers. But that one's not on Broadway, I don't think, at this point. So it's I guess that's not a fair comparison. But also, we got another Beetlejuice trailer, because we keep bringing back the same things over and over. It's not Disney related, but
it's so frustrating. It really is. Like, dude, make new stuff.
And there's new Ghostbusters out right now.
And I heard the new Ghostbusters was good, but
yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: is Beetlejuice isn't a remake, right? It's a continuation.
It's continuation.
It's a
then
sequel.
I'm okay with
it's a sequel. Yeah,
I'm good with sequels. And isn't Ghostbusters a sequel as well?
It is.
It is. Yeah.
So that's fine. Like it's the remakes that really just get man.
And the thing I'm not mad about with those either is that they're not doing just fan service. It feels like there's some torch passing and there's some justification to continuing the story versus like
Ghostbusters. Tough.
It seems pretty heavy nostalgia for the last Ghostbusters, but
yeah,
I mean,
but we'll see.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. That's what I heard. It was pretty heavy on nostalgia. No,
yeah, I mean, but Afterlife was like definitely like handing down to the next generation. It wasn't just here's the Ghostbusters again. Like they did have that moment in the show, but it's not it's not like the one that they did years ago where they tried to do an alternate universe one, which just did not.
Yeah, I'm not about that. I'm also not about this handing down nonsense. Like, let me get their whole story. If it's them old, that's cool. But like, I don't need you handing the torch like they tried to do with Indiana Jones 8 million times. And dude, just
what they have to, because these actors don't live forever.
Yeah.
No, but that's okay. But then you can end the story and be done.
You just end it.
That's true too.
Yeah.
But
just no more Indiana Jones, right? I mean, I guess you could call it something different and have it be in that universe, right? I mean, they just first of all they need to stop making Jurassic Park movies at this point, because that one I'm not okay with them continuing to make sequels, because none of the sequels have been good as the original, and I don't know, just stop. I mean, I don't know, Trevor, how you feel?
I can't even remember the last one I watched.
Yeah. I only watched the last one for the nostalgia. Like I wanted to see the original characters, and and that was fine, but the rest of it was not great. But anyway. Where were we?
We were talking
not very far along.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's. How about we do the ad, because I feel like we're at a halfway point here, and then we'll talk some cruise. We'll talk some EPCOT, and and some other things.
All right, this week our sponsor is DVC Rental Store. It's a World of DVC company that offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. As always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com/welcome home or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 382-7368. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right, so we got some Disney Cruise Line stuff going on here. So Disney Cruise Line has revealed the name and the theme of their next ship. It's going to be the Disney Destiny, and it's going to be themed to heroes and villains, which I find to be a very interesting theme. I feel like Disney's leaning very hard into the villains thing recently.
Well, they have to, because Universal's slapping them with this new park. They got to do something. Actually, I think they're going to take it as like, hey, we're going to start to do some villain stuff. Let's see what happens at EPCOT. Excuse me, at Universal. Yeah. And then maybe if it works there, then we'll make it work too. I don't know. I think the demographic, though, that Disney goes after isn't there anyway. So I don't know if they necessarily, everyone's like, oh, this means that, they're going to do something with villains in the park and I don't know about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume that either.
Yeah, because it's funny because this whole villains thing has been like an internet thing forever, right?
Yeah.
Like when the whole thing got spread that they were supposed to build a villains land, which wasn't necessarily true back in the day. It was something that just kind of got spread around, and like it just became an internet thing. And then they kind of picked up on it, and with that D23 thing, we're like, oh, we're going to build a villains land, maybe, right? But I just don't know if they're actually going to do it. Like you said, Damon, like does the internet popularity translate into people actually wanting villains in the parks? Or
it definitely translates to people wanting villains in the parks. I just don't think that's how Disney works, right? If they did, they wouldn't have taken out Alien, right?
Well,
I think the whole point is you're catering to an experience where kids are going to be happy as much of the time as possible. Kids will listen. We know how kids work. You put a villains land in there, they're going to want to go, whether they should go or not. Right? That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah.
And I think that's why it just won't happen. On a cruise ship, it's a little different, right? The amount of people coming through the cruise ship is less, and you also can avoid it probably easier. You know what I'm saying? I think
it's more controlled. Yeah,
definitely more controlled. So I'm okay with it here, but I just don't think it's ever going to turn into something really that exists in Orlando. I mean, I think the setup has been pretty good, right? Like you have Disney for, this age and, everyone else as well, but, catering towards a demographic, and you have Universal for a little bit of an older demographic. And then there's a lot of crossover and it works.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, and Disney's been trying to pepper in more thrill rides, but not like what Universal is doing, where they're doing straight out like hardcore roller coasters. So, like it's different. Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're going to do villains on a ship, it's going to be more like the Halloween stuff, parade, and things like that. And
it's going to be like soft villain, right? It's not going to be like the villains are not going to be like trying to scare children, right? Like
that would be awesome on a cruise ship. To be honest,
that is exactly
I'm on board with that, but
this is exactly the problem, though, right? Is that the internet wants that harder villain thing, where villains are scary and all that, but like you said, cruise ships and in the parks, they don't want to be scaring kids because then the kids don't come back. So so I see why like the whole villains thing is such a monkey's paw wish.
It is
to me. Like everyone says that they want it, but we all know that outside of these situations, like doing a cruise ship that has villain themed on it, it's not going to work the way that any of us would expect it to.
Yeah. And it's going to be real interesting because with Epic Universe, you have the kids stuff. Then you have this middle ground, which is like Harry Potter, which is a little bit scary, but not, right?
But not, yeah.
And then you're going full on, monsters in the park. And I'm just very curious to how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I think this whole portal idea is pretty cool because now you can kind of just tell your kids like, hey, you're not allowed to go through the portal. Like there's a lot of things you could say to keep kids out of that when, Disney doesn't have a setup like that. It's kind of all inclusive. So Yeah, I don't know. And again, when we talk about these villains, I don't know who was saying something about Marvel stuff. I don't know if that's going to
That was
happen
me.
per se.
That was me. I was like,
think
I'm surprised they haven't done an all Marvel or all Star
they
Wars
have
ship.
Marvel cruises though.
They do, but I'm talking like the entire ship themed to Marvel or the entire ship themed to Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like do a
Isn't
Star
that what
Cruiser.
the cruises are like though?
I
Or
mean,
no?
they're like I think it's more they pepper it in. You know, it's not like every room is Marvel themed. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah.
they could. I don't know.
But I think that would just be the same thing that would happen to the hotel. You don't want to theme your rooms,
yeah,
that way, because then
you limit the
stuck.
audience when you do that. Yeah, I know.
I mean, but I think in terms of villains, I think there's enough Disney animated villains to make it work, without having to dip into Star Wars or Marvel. Like, please, we have enough, right? Like, just let this one be just like Disney animated villains, and
I think to your point though, Damon, like the reason why villains only doesn't work as well, I think, because and I think where it's going to work here is you're doing the heroes versus villains thing, where the heroes are always going to prevail, right?
Yeah.
And like because of that, you can do the villains thing because the heroes are going to win.
when
and,
your kids go to bed, hey, remember, but Aladdin saved the day, or
Exactly.
Jafar didn't win. Like,
Exactly.
Not that Hades is wandering the halls,
even though that would be great. Like, that would be great.
Yeah, you better be good today, or Hades.
That's a movie idea, right? Like, that's a movie idea. Why is there not like a horror on a? I'm sure there is, but I've never seen it. Like a horror film on a cruise ship.
Oh, I know one, and I'm not going to mention it here, but
Okay. But I would, like I said, I would be good with that. I'm interested. There's this when we go to Dollywood this summer. There's a haunted house that runs all year round, and yeah. So it's in that area,
like a legit scary one, like the ones.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and what's kind of cool about it is because it's smaller. It's like there's this like weird like area in Dollywood. Like there's a Margaritaville hotel, and there's this like it's like Disney Springs, but like cheesier and crazier, right?
More touristy, like not as like upscale.
More Las Vegas-y, maybe. I don't
Okay.
know. I can't
Not
really.
as upscale.
Yeah, and this is where this horror house is. But what's kind of neat about it is it's not one where like they let you go in the bottom of the house and you have to walk through the whole house. So I think that's going to be interesting because again, I've never really done. Like there's ones where we go into the house, but it seems different than what this is. Like you're kind of guided through. This is kind of like where you can just walk through the house.
Okay.
And I'm like kind of have to like find your way yourself. Yes.
Wander. Oh god.
I'm so excited for this. I think it's going to be crazy. Yes, I think it's going to be crazy. So that will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, this is going to be way watered down villains, and I think it will be fine, and I think it will be good. But I'm not like. I don't know. Again, this is not a ship I need to be on.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's almost like the Phantasmic of ships, right? Because the whole concept of Phantasmic is that, the villains are taking over, Mickey's, dreams or whatever. And then Mickey and all the heroes win, right? Like that's what all this is going to be. You have to have the hero component, I feel like, to make this work on a kid level. If you just have straight villains
for young kids, I agree.
Yeah. Like you got to have the hero side, right? So I in that way, I think it'll work really well. And really, there's not that many details about the ship other than. And by the way, I like how they announced this with like a cool comic book kind of like vibe that they got. It's just like a straight up comic book, which is cool. But really, they've said nothing about what the rooms are going to be. Like what it's going to look like, right? We just know it's going to be heroes and villains themed, and it's going to be called the Disney Destiny. Okay, cool. But I'm okay with this. I think it's an interesting idea. I just wonder.
Kind of interesting on the medallion thing there that they chose Minnie.
Yeah.
For it, like,
because you don't associate Minnie with like a superhero, right? Like it's but I mean, it's cool though. She looks cool. She's got a superhero thing going on. Maybe they're going to do a whole new like superhero kind of thing. I don't know. But
that's what, the pose is kind of alluding to that. So maybe Minnie will have her own thing in the middle of all this.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's all I got for the cruise ship. You want to move on to other stuff? Talk about some EPCOT stuff and some Disney Springs stuff, I guess. All right, so I've been ringing the bell here for a while on drones, right? On drone shows.
Yeah,
and. So they're
got
going
your wish.
Kind of. I halfway got my wish, because they're going to be doing a drone show, but they're going to be doing it at Disney Springs, which is fine. But and part of me really thinks that this is a testing ground, right? Like that they're doing this at Disney Springs because they did this once before, like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, where they, which was, I think, the first time I've ever seen a drone show was them doing this in Disney Springs, and now they're doing it again in Disney Springs. But it feels to me like they're doing like a test run here before they put it in the parks, because I really believe that they're going to have a drone show in the parks. It's going to happen in the next year or two. It has to, but. So this is going to be, they're going to have this from May 24th through, of course, which is a couple weeks after I leave, because that's how things go. And I'm staying at Saratoga. I'm right at Disney Springs, but I'm going to.
You could probably watch it from your balcony if you were there at the right time.
Yeah, don't rub it in, Trevor. You're rubbing it in. But,
sorry.
No, it's okay. So this is going to be called Disney Dreams That Soar, and it's going to there's state-of-the-art drones choreographed to create designs in the sky. I think everybody's seen probably a drone show at this point. So, I mean, we don't really know what it's going to be, like what actually is going to be there. But, of course, they'll have, some sort of musical accompaniment and that kind of thing. But I again urge everybody, if you have not seen the Disneyland Paris one, go watch that one, because that's what I want for the parks in the US. And I will mention too that there's the same company that they partner with to do that show in Disneyland Paris open an office in Orlando, and I believe Disney also has a financial stake in them as well. So it's only a matter of time, I think, before these end up in the parks. And I do think that this is more of a testing ground for them. But I guess we'll see. I'm excited that drones are at least coming in some form or fashion to Disney.
Yeah. And I feel like the Disney Springs is a safe bet because they have a large body of water there that they can run the show over. Yeah. That they don't have to worry about, like, people or, shutting down spaces or anything like that. Because they do it in the park, right? Like for anything that they do in the park, they have to figure out, like, how to run it with also, considering that there is people all over the place all the time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, as much as we want to have like drones around Cinderella Castle, I feel it's like the fireworks, they shut off sections of Fantasyland. They'll have to do the same thing for a drone show, right?
Well, and they expect to lose a couple drones when they do these things, right? Like they expect that some of them are going to either crash or not take off.
Yeah.
I was watching
something fails.
Yeah, exactly. I was watching a behind the scenes thing, and there was a guy operating the drones, and he was like, please take off, please take off. Oh, they all took off. And then in the middle of the show, he's like, oh, lost one. It just comes crashing down to earth, it just breaks in some way. And I think they just expect that. But to your point, Trevor, they have to put these drones somewhere where if they were to fail, they're not going to land on a guest's head and, knock them out. And then now there's a lawsuit, right? Like that's not something they're going to do. So,
yeah.
So we're going to have to see how that pans out. But the other thing they've announced is that the rest of EPCOT will be opening June 10th, which is well after I'm going to be there. So I'm not that sad about it. It's a full month later. So, but I am sad that I'm not going to get to see it. But so we do have the rest of all the stuff in the middle of EPCOT. And they've also announced here too that there's going to be an Encanto show that is going to be on the CommuniCore Plaza stage, which is what's opening on June 10th. So, this is probably just a show that they're putting in there to just, to get started. And, because I think the plan is to have, different shows there on a regular basis. So, and I don't know if it's like supposed to be original shows or if it's going to be like, bands that they put there or presentations during the festivals. Like, I think they plan on doing a lot of different things in there.
Yeah, I feel like you said, it's going to be the whole point of that area was supposed to be for festival related stuff. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it seems like the Encanto show is definitely just something to get it started while they have other things. The only thing that sucks about it is that it's like, hey, there's the show playing, and people that are excited to go. If somebody's really into Encanto and they want to go see it. It's only playing for a certain amount of time. And then, so you'll never, but I guess once it gets to the festival stuff, maybe it'll be less of an issue. Yeah. And maybe this is, again, a testing ground for, maybe this will spawn a bigger show that goes into Hollywood studios related to Encanto. Like,
yeah.
Like this could also be a place where, like they're doing testing for the drones. Maybe this stage is also going to be a testing area for potential shows that could become something bigger, right?
Yeah, I mean, I anticipate that this stage is always going to have some sort of act on it at some point, right? Like like they're going to constantly have something going on this stage at all times. That's what I'm guessing. And then, by the way, also too, they're also going to be opening the character greeting area, so where Mickey and friends will debut as well. So that's happening as well on June 10th. So that'll be great. That finally all of the walls will be down, because most of the walls came down, but we still have this area that is not completed yet. So
yeah, there's still a section, and I mean it wasn't too bad that when we were there, like you noticed it, but it wasn't taking up the entire park like it was before.
Well, those buildings are pretty big too. It's not like you can you can see them, right? So yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to those things opening up and seeing what they decide to do with them, especially since it's just kind of, we're getting now towards the end of all the EPCOT work. And now maybe they'll move on to some other things, which is a thing we're going to talk about in a few minutes here. But I'm getting the feeling that, and I think that the internet is getting the feeling that Disney's ramping up to make a lot of announcements, right? Yeah. And one of those things, we see there's a new permit that was filed for Animal Kingdom, which is basically a permit for a gigantic parking lot that is adjacent to the backstage area of what do you call it, Dinoland USA. So a lot of people are making the leap, which makes sense.
It's a fair
leap
assumption.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's a fair assumption. Yeah. This permit's been filed by Walt Disney Imagineering, right? So they pretty much announced that project for Dinoland USA. So the fact that they're filing this permit and they're going to be building this parking lot for more than 300 vehicles, that's going to be a staging area most likely for the construction vehicles and construction, materials.
There's going to be trailers there too, apparently.
Trailers, yeah.
So yeah.
This, I mean, this really tells us that the whole Animal Kingdom, that whole Dinoland USA thing is happening, right? And I'm sure we'll get more details about it soon, because they can't really start construction on it without raising some eyebrows, right? Like, so they're going to have to announce something, right? There's also other rumors floating around out there too, and this was in our Discord too, just that there's they're doing a lot to Animal Kingdom, potentially adding more stuff to Pandora, also some expansions at Hollywood Studios. It looks like they're going to be doing we assume they're going to be announcing a lot very soon here. Yeah.
But I guess the thing is, they're going to be announcing stuff like they have been, but the fact that this has already got the permits tells me this is much further down the pipe than anything else that they're announcing. And, we still haven't gotten actual concrete vision of what this area is supposed to turn into.
Because we just got an overhead view of it. We don't know what rides are going to be there. We know nothing.
Yeah. Well, but they also kind of talked about, I don't think, I'm not assuming, from those announcements to what actually happens. They say, hey, we're going to redo this land, or we're going to add something to Animal Kingdom. I'm still trying to figure out, and again, maybe this is wishful thinking, is that, the whole thing that they did with Zootopia in Shanghai, I hope that that's that was a testing ground, or that was, the prototype for them to do something like that in Animal Kingdom. Just start bringing a lot of that stuff to Animal Kingdom, because it feels like the right place for it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so Jason posted this in our Discord, and this is from message boards, but some of these message boards have pretty reliable, sources on them, but mentioning that Animal Kingdom will get several large, and again, this is rumor, right? So this is all rumor, but several large projects. The Dinoland retheme will have 3 rides, not 2. So, I mean, that would probably be maybe 2 new rides, because they'll be retheming Dinosaur, right?
So
and then
Indy, and then 2 new rides.
Yeah, which would be great.
It's going to be Indy. It has, please.
We know it's going to be Indy. And then this also says maybe more coming to Animal Kingdom, a potential 3rd ride in Pandora, and then also mentioning that maybe Hollywood Studios will get an entire new land as well. And then the Magic Kingdom stuff is still on the plans, but they're redoing a lot of the plans, and maybe that's a lower priority. So, but again, this is all speculation. This is all rumor, right? So, Who knows? What were you going to say, Trevor? What were you?
Hollywood Studios doesn't need another land. They need to fix what they got first.
You're so down on Hollywood Studios lately.
I was not happy with like Hollywood Studios was the low point of our trip just because of how much nothing there was. There's so much space that's not utilized in any kind of meaningful way there. And I know it's Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land. They're great, but the whole rest of the park is not.
It's fair. I mean, I understand what you're saying because the last time we went, it's weird though, because like, I feel like Hollywood Studios is probably going to end up being the second most attended park at this point. Maybe Epcot will get a bump from all the, the new stuff. But like, I mean, just from planning my trip, like Hollywood Studios was like busy every day. And but it's only because of those things. The rest of the park is it's unbalanced. Yeah.
Like there's no in between with it.
Well, listen, maybe they're going to add a new land and also redo some other things, Yeah.
Or they'll add another land and then the whole like entrance to Hollywood Studios will just be packed all the time. It'll be like, yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's back to this. Back to Animal Kingdom. So I'm trying to think what a third ride in Pandora would be, and I hope it would be an actual ride.
We need a Pandora ride there.
Another Pandora ride, a third ride,
an actual like something.
They're both not even real rides.
Yeah.
What do you mean they're both not even real rides?
The boat ride is a ride.
I mean, it's a ride. It's not exciting. It's relaxing.
Yeah. Well, you said you like that ride.
I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. But it's not like a ride. It's
the simulator thing though is like I do like Flight of Passage, but there needs to be not another simulator in that.
Oh, I don't think they'll go another simulator out. No, I mean, I don't think they would do a second simulator. No.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think
somebody.
They would. What?
Sometimes they get to. I don't know. Sometimes they get an idea that because of it being Pandora, they'll be like, oh, we can do another simulator. We can do Flight of Passage better. No, how about don't do Flight of Passage better?
Yeah, just don't do Flight of Passage again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else they're going to do. Honestly, maybe they do something. Wasn't the whole last movie like underwater and stuff? Like it was a bunch of underwater stuff. Maybe that'll be something with underwater. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe we'll go scuba diving. The ride will be it.
Yeah, everyone has to take a
simulation of scuba diving.
Yeah,
bring back 20,000 Leagues. Or
yeah, I like it.
Right.
I like it.
No,
like it.
You do not. You like the nostalgia of the submarine ride. You do not actually like the submarine ride. I've been on the submarine ride.
Oh no, I think I like the submarine ride.
I don't know.
The last time I went on the submarine ride, it was not enjoyable. Like,
well, you're talking about the Disneyland one, right? Not the.
The same. It's the same ride.
What wasn't enjoyable about it?
Very claustrophobic and.
Well, that's a thing, though, man.
The seats are terrible.
Everybody thing, no.
Yeah. The seats are terrible, though. Like when you try and sit down in there, it's not comfortable.
That's a Trevor thing. I like that ride, man.
I loved that ride when I was a kid.
Well, you can keep that ride then, Damon. You can have that. I don't want
it. That's funny. Speaking of this, though, too, we can do some reckless speculation here too, because this is another rumor coming from one particular website called Mickey Views, which I've never heard before. But let's just pretend like they're legitimate, I guess, right?
Why is Mickey Views not on our podcast? We should have them talking about.
I mean, we could, we could try to get them on.
Remember
here.
when we used to have people on the podcast?
I do remember
the good
that.
old days.
The good old days, yeah. We can get people back. I mean, we can invite people on.
Can we though?
Yeah, we can. We just gotta do it. It's really just that I'm busy and I don't have time to book guests most of the time. But anyway. So this rumor is coming from Mickey Views, and they're saying from a source that Test Track will be closing in late July for a year-long update, rumored to be costing nearly $100 million, apparently being financed by General Motors, who's been the longtime sponsor there, which is something Disney's done for a long time. And if you wonder sometimes why things don't get updated or why the Wonders of Life Pavilion is closed, if they lose their sponsor, or the sponsor isn't willing to pay for things, a lot of times they don't want to pay for things.
Yeah, Disney does not pay the bill on these things.
They don't like paying the bill, that's for sure. So Wonders of Life is a great example of that. I mean, they lost the sponsor there, and that pavilion was basically done. But anyway, so we got like a preview of what they were looking to do with this ride, and we don't know that that's what they're going to be doing if this turns out to be true. I mean, I assume if they're going to spend $100 million on it, that it's not just regular maintenance, that they're going to be they're going to be redoing the whole ride. But I don't know.
I would expect
iteration better anyway.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Trevor? And
go ahead. Go first, David.
Oh, no. I mean, I was just saying I like the first iteration better. I mean, I thought it was a better vibe. I thought that they kind of cheaped out on the second one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I agree that the current iteration is a little too cold, I guess is the way I would put it. Like it doesn't have any life to it, the way that like the old one, you felt like you were going into a factory or you were going into like a test track. It felt very interactive and you felt very involved with it. The current one also feels very, you build a car and it has no bearing whatsoever on the ride.
On the actual ride. Yeah.
It doesn't do anything other than give you a number on a screen at the end.
Well, and I feel like there could be way more like things to pick now, right? Like,
yeah.
Like give me more to do. I know you don't have a ton of time, but give me a little bit more to do, man. But how could it impact the ride? Like, because then you'd be mad at people like, if it messed with the speed.
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, unless, you'd have to get like the whole car on board with,
I'd have to fight. Like, I have to fight people on the car then at that point. Like,
yeah.
Dude, like, what are you doing? Like, we're going to be slow. Who wants to be slow? Like, you know what I mean? Like, nah. Yeah.
Well,
it would have to be something where like you had like like if they could change the color of the car, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots they can do with LEDs now that.
Give me something like that.
Yeah.
I like that ride, but it seems like it's always broken. So when you fix it, how about you fix it so it's not always broken too?
Well, hopefully they do that too, right? But
would require covering the whole outside section.
Well, there's also that problem. Yeah, it's outside, right? So anytime there's weather.
No, I feel like it's down even when there's no weather, though.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot.
It does. Mm-hmm. It does break down fairly frequently. But I mean, they were supposed to fix that like a couple refurbishments ago, where they were like upgrading the computer system and all that stuff. But we did hear at D23, they said they were going to do this update, and it was going to be themed to the original attraction that was in the building, which was World of Motion. And we only have one picture from that, one piece of concept art that doesn't really tell us much. But it does seem like it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot less sparse. Lot more filled. Not just like you said, they cheaped out Damon. Like just from this one picture, it looks like they're really going to invest in some set pieces and stuff like that. Go ahead, Trevor. What were you going to say?
Yeah. So when did World of Motion was like back in the 90s, right?
Yeah, World of Motion.
I never actually did World of Motion.
I don't think I ever got on World of Motion. It was closed in 1996.
Oh, okay.
It was 82 to 96 that was open.
All right.
And that it was an Omnimover ride. So it was like a slow ride, pretty much. But it was basically going through the history of transportation, right? So
it was it's like Carousel of Progress, but around transportation.
Yeah, but it was an Omnimover ride, right? Like so, it was like
right.
You had the Omnimover vehicles, right? So the interesting thing though, because it's actually more. I almost feel like it's more like Spaceship Earth, Trevor, where it's like you're starting, you're starting, like with like the beginning of communication in Spaceship Earth, and then like you're going through all the years. Like it's kind of similar to that, where they're showing the beginning of transportation, and then like water transportation, and then as the invention of the wheel and stuff like that as it goes along. The question is, how do we make Test Track into that, right? Like how does Test Track fit into there? And I wonder. I think I said this when they originally announced it. Is like, are they going to do like a dinosaur kind of thing where your vehicle goes back in time, like in the beginning or something? And there's things you have to run from,
or maybe that's the thing is, if it's following that kind of story, is maybe that's how the ride gets progressively faster until you get to the finale of the ride. Is it's
speeding outside. Yeah.
yeah. Everything is like new modes of transportation, speed up the ride and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I kind of feel like that's what it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna have to. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But good.
I actually just found a. Weirdly, I was looking for World of Motion, and there's a Disney Parks blog from 2015 showing pictures of World of Motion, which is weird that they. It's weird that they posted that in 2015 because it's like nothing, like they weren't even talking about it at that point. It's just like a weird blog post thing. But
maybe they were doing it as like the 20th anniversary of it being closed or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
Which feels like a weird thing to celebrate, but okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just needed content that week and they were like, hey, let's talk about a thing that I think some people miss World of Motions. Not as much as people miss like Horizons, right? But like, I don't know.
Now, there's one of these pictures has like looks like a dragon or a sea. I'm guessing it's a sea serpent because the dude's on a boat. Wonder if they're going to incorporate that into the ride.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, this ride looks like it was all over the place. Like,
kind of was. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see what they're going to do with this. I like you guys. I thought the original iteration of Test Track was better than the newer one. I do think that they have an opportunity to do something really cool with this. And if they're spending $100 million on it, you would hope that it's going to be really well done, right? Like you don't just spend $100 million. And
I don't know. I mean, they spend money on the last iteration, and look what we got.
How much did they spend on the last iteration, though? That's the question. I don't know.
That is fair. I'd never looked into that, but it.
I mean, it's probably like $100 million, right? I mean,
yeah, but it felt like they cut a lot of corners with the last iteration. Like it doesn't.
I mean, I still think that they were trying to. I still think they were trying to make Tron happen. Like I think they were going to like make that into a Tron ride, and like got it halfway there, and then that's I don't know. That's just a weird theory, but it just felt it feels very Tronish to me.
Yeah. It does. It feels like a weird off-brand Tron. But one thing I hope that they do is that they bring back some actors to the pre-show on this, because the old one, if you like, they had the whole pre-show where you were picking it was the lady picking the different tests to do on the test track, right?
Yeah,
and that brought more interest for me to the ride than the current iteration, which is like go into a room, stare at a monitor, do some stuff. Okay, get back in line. Like there's just nothing. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, but this was also that era where they were trying to make like entertaining queue lines. Like they were trying to make interactive queue lines because Disney's been on this like thing for a while now of trying to make you, even if you're waiting for an hour, make you feel like you're not waiting for an hour because you're doing stuff, right? Which I feel like they've had kind of mixed results with. I mean, I think the ones where they have multiple pre-shows are a little bit better than like what they did at Peter Pan, which backs up the line. I don't like anything that backs up the line. Like that drives me kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So,
like, playing with stuff in line is not good. And that's kind of what Test Track does too, is it's like, everybody go and it does actually slow it down because everybody's going to these little kiosks and you have to wait. Like they have a timer and everything, but you still got to wait for everybody to do that. And it does definitely slow down the line a little bit. So I hope that whole thing is gone in whatever the next iteration is. Like I don't think it's needed at all.
Yeah, no, I mean it's I could see that. I can't seem to find a figure on how much they spent on that redo, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, right? But this one is I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this. Honestly, I think it's going to be really kind of cool. And they're saying they're reaching back into history for inspiration from the original World of Motion. So I don't know. It kind of feels like it's going to be more. Yeah, it's good.
that one car in that blog I posted, like I feel like the cars may get a redesign.
I could see it. Well, I mean, there's the one piece of concept art they gave us has a car in it, so and it is different looking than than what we have now. And I mean, it looks more futuristic, I guess, but I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens. I mean, if it's gonna close in late July, they're gonna have to announce something fairly soon in the next 2 months here.
I was gonna say they don't have to announce it like tomorrow. It's
no, but like people get mad when they like close down an iteration of something and they don't give a lot of heads up on it because like people want to go and ride it one last time. I don't know if anybody's going to feel nostalgic for this version of it because I know generally people feel like this version was not as good, but I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's people out there that will miss it.
Yeah, I guess, and you know, the whole ride it one last time. It's like, okay, you know, if you like, I guess I'm not in a position where I could just like drop what I'm doing and plan a trip to go ride a ride.
Yeah. So
it feels very like, okay, so you didn't get to ride it. Like
that's it.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. All right. So anything else on that?
Nope, not yet. Not until something else happens and it's not just a rumor.
I mean, I like this rumor though. I do wonder. You know, the interesting thing is I saw another rumor that said that Disney has no plans at this point to redo Spaceship Earth, and I'm like, you know, the plan that they had was so cool, and I'm sad that they're not going back to that. And maybe it just because it got delayed / canceled, it just they decided to think about it again and rethink about it. I don't know, but I think they need to. I mean, Spaceship Earth is in dire need of a redo. You know, as much as I love that ride.
Yeah, I mean, it needs some love. I agree.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Along with Figment. But I also saw there was no plans for Figment too. There's another rumor that's going around. So, come on now, you got to do Figment. But I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? I mean, sometimes people don't know. I mean, we see rumors all the time and they don't turn out to be true, or, there's things that come out of left field that nobody even knew was happening, right? Like there's no rumors about, and then they all of a sudden announce a new Figment ride, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, Disney is kind of good at, for certain things, like they'll let things kind of trickle out, and then there's other things that it's like top secret. Nobody knows about it until they need to know about it. And I feel like there's been hints, like they keep hinting at they want to do something with Figment, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you're right. I wouldn't, get my hopes up that the ride's going to get a redo anytime soon, but it would definitely be a nice surprise for them to come out of left field with that. Yeah,
I agree. So, yep, we'll see what happens. All right. So last but not least here, I think I just have one more thing on here, right? Okay.
Yep.
So one of the things, this is some Disneyland updates. So Damon can tune out on this one, but so they just announced that to coincide with the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure, they are going to be retheming two retail stores that exist at Disneyland, which, we haven't really heard about what they're going to do at Disney World, but you have to believe they're going to be doing some similar things at some point. Yeah. I mean,
because there's the two shops in Disney World as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they really haven't said anything about that shop at the end of the ride, right? Like, there's been no talk of that. I feel like maybe I missed it, but
I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally the exit to the ride is the gift shop. The long running joke, right? So, but so the reimagined merchandise locations coming to Critter Country and Disneyland will include Ray's Berets, okay, Lewis's Critter Club. All right.
Yeah, which have you watched Princess and the Frog?
I have, but not recently. It's been a while.
So Ray's the Firefly.
The Firefly, yeah.
Yeah, and Lewis is the Gator.
Voiced by Jim Cummings, I believe, right? He's does the Firefly.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he does everything.
He does like 80% of the voices that they for whatever they need.
My wife and I always like do this thing, like when we're watching something, we're like, oh, Jim Cummings. Because you could recognize his voice. Like
you hear it and you're like, yeah, that's Jim. That sounds like Jim.
that's him doing it. Yeah, if you want to, I mean, we interviewed him one time, like way back in the beginning of the podcast. That was one of the cooler things that we got to do. So I don't know what episode that was, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and find that.
Yeah.
For people that are interested. Yeah.
But
so
anyway,
we have talked to Jim.
Yeah, we did. But anyway, so these the old shops are closing on May 1st, and they're going to be working on the Tiana's, the new Tiana things. I've also seen too, Trevor. I don't know if you've seen the videos of the Imagineers riding on the one at Disney World.
Yes, I have. Yeah. I mean, that spawned a whole discussion about ponchos or no ponchos on if you're riding Splash Mountain,
right? Your team no poncho.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I'm in Florida, it's so warm there that I don't care if I get wet on a water ride. Like, even if it's raining, I mean, especially if it's raining, it's like I'm getting wet either way. I don't care.
I mean, I understand it for the Imagineers testing it though. Like, they're riding it like 100 times. Like, that's
fair. Like, yeah, I guess if you're doing it as a job and you need to do other things that day besides ride the ride, I get that. But my personal take is, if you're getting in line for a water ride, you accept that you're going to get wet. You don't like I guess that's one thing that I always find funny is, people getting in line and then they're like, everyone's whipping their ponchos out in the queue. And I just roll my eyes like, you didn't know where you were going when
yeah.
Like you're going to get wet and you're also going to dry off in like 10 minutes.
10 minutes because it's 95 degrees out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad for people that get wet on water rides.
I just thought it was funny that they had to put out a sign out by the entrance because people saw the boats running and thought it was open. I don't know if you saw that one, but that was pretty funny.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. Because, people translate movement to, that means, it's moving. So that means it's running. That means, my turn. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it must be open. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
even when there's like sandbags, like that's the funny thing is like before the cast members were riding, it was like, there was like sandbags coming down on the logs. And it's like, do you really think that people are like actually riding this or that they're not just testing?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's good that it's testing. They said opening this summer, which, can be anytime over a pretty long period of time. But the fact that they're testing at this point means they're almost at the end. I mean, I don't know if they are going to pull a Ratatouille on this one and hold it to a certain date, because remember Ratatouille was just sitting there done for a while and they just decided not to open it. Now that was pandemic error, but I don't feel like they'll do that with this. I feel like once it's ready, it's going to go. But
considering that summertime is coming, I think it's like from a capacity equation.
Yeah,
having this open sooner than later is just it's more, or it's one more space to get people filling up the park, right?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that this is going. I have to wonder if they're going to virtual queue it.
Ooh, that's an interesting point, Trevor.
Because even though it's a remake, it's going to be busy, and it's going Splash Mountain traditionally always had a lot of demand.
A long ride,
there was always there was always a long line for it. I have to wonder if they're going to offer 2 virtual queues, so you'll have Tron and this, or maybe Tron's getting close to that point where they're going to dial it back and have or just bring the virtual queue to Tiana's.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Are we going to end up with 2 virtual queues, or are we going to end up with if they're not going to do virtual? I feel like every new ride that they've opened, even though it's a redo, they've done the virtual queue. So I just feel like it probably is going to be a virtual queue as well. I don't know, but I'm placing my bet, Trevor, on either sometime in June. Or maybe they do this. They like to do them holiday weeks. Maybe we're talking 4th of July.
Oh, that's a dangerous prospect. But, yeah.
But they do that though. They open new rides around holidays. Which I always thought was interesting because they tend to be busier during holidays. So
I feel like you could see this as early as May long weekend.
Yeah, I could see that too. I could see it too. Probably after I'm going to be there, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's all.
Well, I mean, maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe they'll have a preview or weekend or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's wrap this thing up, Trevor. I think that's it. Unless there's anything else you guys want to mention.
No, I think we got lots of stuff out there for people to think about. You know, it's good that we got some rumors going again. So,
I like rumors.
Yeah. Rumors are good because it means, you know, stuff is changing and stuff is happening. So
exactly.
Yeah, I like rumors. Bring, you know, if you see, you know, listening to this, if you see some rumors and, you know, reasonable rumors, not like, you know, they're going to build this. They're not that they're going to build like Disneyland on the moon or something like that. Like, you know,
I mean, I heard that one. I think that one's true.
Yeah. You know, it's We'll talk about it on the next episode. But
all right, good. Yeah.
In the meantime, though, you know, if you have stuff that you want to submit to the show, or you know, you just want to share your own trip reports or whatever, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys because, you know, this show is, you know, kind of, it's something we do to enjoy, but we love enjoying it with you guys. So, you know, come talk to us, ask us questions, all that kind of stuff. In that same vein, if you're on Facebook, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. On Facebook, we have the group Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, which is yet another place that we love talking to you guys. You know, people share their own trip reports, their own thoughts on things that we talk about on the show and even off the show. You know, just lots of great discussion about Disney. So if you're looking for a good Facebook group to talk about Disney, that's the one. Don't, you know, ignore all the other ones. This is the group you should join.
Agreed.
And yep. And if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merch there. You can get shirts and mugs and all kinds of great stuff. And we also have a Patreon. So you can support us on patreon.com/welcomehomepod. We have different levels of Patreon support there. And anyone who supports us through Patreon, the merch there is exclusive to Patreon. You can't get it in the store. So there's that. And then also all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which we mentioned previously. There's lots of discussion that goes on Discord as well, both about the show, about Disney, and sometimes there's just stuff off in left field. You never know what people are going to talk about on there sometimes, which is always fun to see, you know, what people bring to the discussion. So if that's of interest to you, you know, please check it out. And last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or any platform where you can leave reviews for the show, leave us a 5-star review because it does help more people find the show. You know, we want to help. We want you to help us get this out to other people because it just means, you know, we got more people to listen to the show and to talk about things and offer points of view and all that. So, you know, help us help other people find the show.
Yeah, that's important, right? I don't think we have any new ones this week. Any new reviews. But yeah, so do reviews on the show.
Yeah, write us a review. I want to see what you guys think about the show.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it too.
Yeah. Sorry, I got totally distracted by watching a video about how Test Track works.
Awesome.
There's a YouTube channel called Art of Engineering where they like explained all of like the ways that the rides work, and I get fascinated by these things. You know, just kind of being a nerd with this stuff. So I was like, and I kind of knew how it worked already, but I was like, oh, let me check this video out. It just popped up on my screen here. I wanna look. Anyway. Don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app that's out there. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home and you'll find us there. Look for the one that's the Disney one because there are multiple Welcome Homes. Just look for us. And just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a Disney cast member or a DVC representative for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Rental Store, for sponsoring this episode, and of course, World of DVC for being a constant supporter of this show. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.